I fear no man, but that thing, it scares me.
It's me, Mario and the gang, you probably know my name. And so we start the game, jumping high, ducking low, from the sky to the ocean. How come Peach can't stop being stolen? Need a Firefly or Star Power now for Bowser. Koopa Troopa, Super Goomba, soon to lose a life. It's me and Peach and Luigi, so you know, stop and don't rock and roll. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Oh my gosh. 2023 just started and it's already becoming weird. I mean, what more can I expect, really? 2022 actually ended off really well because we've gotten loads of stuff. Well, if you're like me who enjoys these kind of things. Then, out of nowhere, we were introduced to this abomination. Velma. I feel like I'm about to get like a huge headache every time I say that name. When I first heard about this show, I thought it was a straight up joke, and I was just praying to the gods that it was. And in the end, all those prayers just gone to waste. There are so many things that I despise about this show. Most of the stuff is just things people already know, and some are just my own. And I'm definitely not the first person to be ranting on this show, because according to YouTube, many others hate it as well. And I don't blame them. But yeah, bottom line, this show straight up sucks. Initially, I almost wasn't even going to make this video because one, it's not something I usually talk about on my channel, you know, if I don't really feel like it. And second, I was busy working on some other stuff, like videos and just focusing on life and such. And I just, you know, usually post gaming content on this channel, but I have a lot to say about this show, so I'm just gonna throw all that aside and just add my 2 cents. Because why not? If it's something I don't really care about, I won't make a video on it. But if it's something that I truly despise or actually really love, I'll talk about it. But I just hate Velma. I just gotta say it. Velma is a disgrace to Scooby-Doo fans. And I don't even watch Scooby-Doo. I was never, like, you know, the biggest fan of the series. I've watched, like, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And Mystery Incorporated and stuff like that. But I was never a huge fan of Scooby-Doo. But I found out about Velma. Like, you know, that new HBO Max original. And I saw the first 2 episodes, and I really wish I could have those boring minutes of my life just restored. To say the least. Who approved this show? Who thought it was a good idea? Just who thought it was a good idea to make an adult version of such a popular children's franchise? Now, I saw loads of shows on TV as a kid, and I still do now. And I even watched some bad shows, mostly bad cartoons. Like, coming from Mr. Meaty, Teen Titans Go, Powerpuff Girls 2016, Sanjay and Craig, Planet Sheen, and the Fairly Odd Parents, Fairly Odder. But I have never seen anything as bad as this. Like, not only is it just, you know, a very bad representation of the Scooby-Doo franchise, but as a whole, even if you're just ignoring the fact that it's supposed to be representing the Scooby-Doo franchise, it's a very show. Seriously, are show producers and writers that make TV shows nowadays, are they all on crack or something? Because mostly nowadays you won't really see that many good shows on TV. So what really happened to the great shows we've all watched as kids? Like, what the hell happened? Okay. I take it back. This show is definitely not the worst show to ever... who am I kidding? I hate this show. I hate it to hell. Burn it, kill it, and just burn it in fire. But seriously, why do cartoons nowadays always have to be just lazy, cheap cash grabs for the companies, even though they have, like, millions or even billions of cash right now? To be fair, not every show nowadays sucks, because we do got the great stuff, like Gumball, Regular Show, Adventure Time, and even Steven Universe. Those were pretty solid shows in my opinion, especially Gumball and Regular Show. If you haven't seen those shows, go watch them. Of course, no one really talks about OKKO, but I thought that show was pretty decent. And I definitely did not only like it because Sonic appeared in one of the episodes, I guarantee you. But I still feel bad for kids nowadays who have to just sit around and watch a bunch of stupid cartoons and they don't get to experience what we experienced when we were younger. SpongeBob, Fairly OddParents, Jimmy Neutron, Danny Phantom, Back at the Barnyard, and many others. And yes, I know SpongeBob is still running, but I'm talking about the older seasons because that was the goated era for the show. Even Season 4 had some good episodes. Sadly, we're getting off topic, and I wish I didn't have to stay on topic because this show is just a literal joke. But now let's get into the actual problems with the show by just diving deep into it. So the show is basically a spin-off of the main Scooby-Doo series, if that wasn't obvious from the start, which it should have been. And we of course got the main cast of characters from the series like Daphne, Fred, who looks ugly by the way, Velma, or that's who we're supposed to believe is, and then we of course have Shaggy. What the hell is this? Okay, for the record, I'm not racist or anything like that, far from it. Heck, I mean, I've done some pretty dark and evil stuff, but I would never be racist or anything like that. But why? I just need to know why. Why would you change Velma and Shaggy's race like that? Here's the before, and here's the after. You're telling me that this is the same guy that was Scoob's partner? And I'm trying my absolute best not to be racist here, but let me just say, this show is the one being racist, not me. These are definitely not the same people, and I can't even see them as the same people. The character that this entire franchise is named after and known for doesn't even appear in the show. How the hell can you do something this pathetic? This should be illegal. It's like if they made a Mario game where Mario doesn't appear in, or a Sonic game that Sonic doesn't even appear in. Okay, those don't work to their advantage. Also, none of the characters feel or act like how they did in the original Scooby-Doo shows. They all feel out of character, and I can assure you that they did not act like this at all. Now I understand why they got rid of Scooby-Doo, so he wouldn't have to go through the same thing that these guys did. If he did appear on the show, what would he look like? Would he be a human? Well, I guess it doesn't matter because this show just has absolutely nothing to do with Scooby-Doo as a whole. So they only released 2 episodes on HBO Max so far, and I actually did have the courage to watch both of them. If they release more than 2 episodes, then I certainly can't guarantee that I'm going to watch them all, because my life's already bad, so I don't need anything else to suffer with. And this show just has nothing to do with Scooby-Doo in general. So you can just remove everything that is just even barely related to Scooby-Doo or even Velma, and it would almost work perfectly fine. Not that that'll make the show any good, because it's still a disgrace either way. The writing in the show is also pretty bad as well. Sometimes the characters would probably say the most weirdest and just annoying lines of all time. And they just try way too hard to act like pre-teens. I mean, I know they've gotten older and just, changed a lot, but you can't just change the characters. I mean, character growth is one thing, but completely changing their personality, making them just very unlikable, why would you think that would ever work? And there's always got to be that one dude that's like, if you don't like the show, then don't watch it. And there's of course truth to that, but here's the thing. Not every show is perfect. Most are good, and most are bad. Everything needs its criticism once in a while, and Velma certainly deserves every bit of criticism it gets. Like, if there's any bit of media for Scooby-Doo I would recommend, it's definitely Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase or Mystery Incorporated. And this is coming from a non-Scooby-Doo fan. Also, this goes without saying, but they messed up literally every character in the Scooby-Doo arc with this show. Even Scooby-Doo himself, and he doesn't even appear in the show, which immediately ruins him. And yeah, I did actually watch the show, so you can't be like, oh, did you even watch the show? Yes, I did. But I can only watch 2 episodes because that's all I can be bothered for. And surprise, surprise, those 2 episodes that I watched sucked. Not just because of the show, but they were just very lame to sit through. And if they release more episodes, I'm not even going to be bothered to watch them, because I don't have that kind of life. Way too boring for my tastes. At the time of me making this video, there are currently only 2 episodes. Velma and the Candyman. So if you pretty much have nothing else to do with your life, go ahead and watch them, I guess, but I'm letting you know right now, you're gonna regret it. Just by looking at the fact that the name of the first episode is the name of the series itself, you should already know it's gonna suck. Barely any company puts effort into their products nowadays, which is just sad. I mean, they created these, so they might as well put effort into them, but they don't. I mean, not for every company, you know, but we don't really get as much exciting stuff as like when we did when we were kids. But now I actually want to get into the more stupid issues that this show has, because for the past few minutes I've been talking about most things that don't really have to do with the show at all, and just, you know, ranting about the show as a whole, but we didn't really talk about the show itself in like the episodes, so let's get into that. First off, let me just say that they really like to drill the whole dirty adult humor in your head when you first watch the show. I'm not even kidding. Like, I know this is targeted for adults, when that shouldn't even be because Scooby-Doo is an all-ages franchise, but do we really need to see all of this dirty on our screens? This series went from a group of friends and their dog named Scooby going on scary adventures and solving mysteries, to friends who apparently lost their dog and just love to be assholes to each other for no reason at all. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of Scooby-Doo. Please don't harass me. But I know enough of the basics. Overall, the series is great enough, but this is nowhere near as successful, and it will never be. It's like they really wanted to make this be like an adult cartoon by showing all of this dirty stuff, and yeah, we already knew it was because of the first couple that you started drilling down our heads and made us forget about everything that this show was about already. Like, we go from butts, swearing, dead people, to psychopaths! Oh wait, it was just Velma. Ha ha, so funny. Quote unquote, sarcasm. Wow, this series really upgraded to a whole nother level of scary and cringe ever since the last time I saw it. Like, when you watch episode 1 for the first time, Velma immediately starts saying a bunch of words, like, and she even starts talking about sex. Oh great, we're only a few seconds in and I already want to turn off my TV and just play games instead. The funniest part about all this is that the show itself acknowledges all of the dirty jokes it's showing. At least there's consistency with that. Like, there was a scene in the second episode where it showed Fred being dragged to a police car. And he was naked. Don't worry, because they didn't really show a lot. And then his dad just comes out of nowhere and says, "It's not small, it's just scared." Ugh, I'm so done. Why would you do that to your own son? Well, then again, he did try to kill Velma, so I guess he did deserve that. Speaking of which, there are way too many instances in the show where it shows the characters butt naked. Stuff like this was already cursed in SpongeBob, but seeing it in a Scooby-Doo related thing is just... ugh. And the worst part is, an adult version of Scooby-Doo would actually be quite interesting, but they failed with this. I don't know who thought this was a good idea, but I really hope they got smacked in the face very hard. Not even shows like Family Guy or South Park were this in your face about it. I mean, yeah, they were already adult cartoons, but they've always been. And stuff like that just doesn't really work well for a good guy like Scooby-Doo. Which is kind of ironic because I said an adult Scooby-Doo, like, related cartoon or anything would be interesting. But still, I hope someone at least understands me. We cut to this school scene with Daphne in a locker room. And I have to take these screenshots with my camera off my TV because for some reason, when I open up HBO Max, it won't let me screenshot it on my phone. And then after that, she spots 2 cockroaches doing things with each other. I really wish I was kidding. I don't think I've ever seen anything so effed up in my life. And the worst part is, he doesn't even have one! How the hell do cockroaches know how to do that sort of thing? Do they actually do that in real life? Then Daphne walks away and says, "This school sucks." And yeah, I couldn't agree more. And we're not even 5 minutes in. Oh yeah, by the way, why does Daphne have 2 moms? Seriously, someone please tell me what is up with this show, and why is it so cringeworthy? And they only released 2 episodes, so I'm mostly going to be talking about the first one, because I can't be bothered to watch episode 2 that much. I just can't stand to watch this boring show. It's just way too boring for me, like I said. But to keep it simple, here's the plot of both episodes. Episode 1, Velma is blamed for killing a classmate and has to find proof of her not being guilty. And in episode 2, Velma tries to find her mother after disappearing when Velma was a child. And there's this whole gag throughout the show, specifically in episode 1, where Velma gets like these hallucinations of her body being taken over by these monsters. I don't know what that's about. Seriously, I already thought Scoob was a bad movie, but Velma takes the cake for the worst thing to ever come from Scooby-Doo. Ugh. Velma herself is just a very unlikable character. Heck, even her parents talk about her. Oh my gosh. And it's not just Velma. Practically every character in the show is unlikable. Everyone's a douchebag to each other. Velma and Daphne don't even want anything to do with each other. Which is just sad because they were buddy-buddy in the other Scooby-Doo stuff. You expect me to believe that these are the same people that were on every Scooby-Doo related media and now they're all just idiots to one another? Even the parents don't care about their kids. If you go watch the episodes right now, you'll see all the problems that I'm stating become true. Also, do you guys remember how the CEO of Disney stated that animation is only for kids about, like, a few weeks ago? Well, what if I told you that this show actually tried to do the same thing? I mean, there was a specific scene in episode 2 where Velma said something like, "It's code for adults who still watch cartoons." And I know that was supposed to be a joke, but why would you do something like that? I see the debate where people are figuring out if animation is for kids or not is still going on. People were already pissed about how the CEO of Disney stated that animation is just for kids, or what he thought. Animation is not for kids. That is not the case. If people like adults manage to make this stuff, then that can also apply to adults as well. Look at Family Guy, Bob's Burgers, South Park, and The Simpsons. You call those only for kids? And what makes this even more unbelievable is the fact that Disney recently bought Fox, who was the company behind Simpsons and Family Guy. People like these can be very inconsistent. Now, I guess this show is supposed to be a horror one as well, because in one of the scenes they joke about blood, and alright, just go to your happy place, just go to your happy place, just go to your happy place, just go to your happy place. Ah, great, he's overthinking things again. You got your nightstick ready? By the way, this show is not only boring, but it's extremely cheesy to sit through. Not Sonic cheesy, just absolutely cheesy. What the is this? Honestly, I'm just shocked that I managed to sit through both episodes without, like, puking or just instantly rage quitting. Was Warner Brothers like, how can we make Scooby-Doo more popular even though we know we can't do that because we're too busy ruining cartoons for people? Oh, I know, let's ignore the fact that this series is for all ages and completely remove the main character from the series. Then let's make it based around Velma of all people, and let's add a bunch of sexism jokes and slurs along with some dirty adult jokes every 5 seconds. People will surely love that, right? Well, I guess the show is good for perverts. Also, what's up with this show with stuff like eyeballs coming out, legs getting chopped off, and many other horrific crap? Like, seriously, we get it. You're trying to be a horrific TV show, but you just can't pull it off. We've seen way scarier stuff. Seriously, Warner Brothers, you just turned something that was unique to something that is just another awful cash grab. It just uses the Scooby-Doo name in vain. Why the hell are people forced to watch these kind of shows now? They're just a bunch of pieces of crap. And the worst part is, most of these bad shows were made by full-grown adults. Like, is this what kids enjoy watching nowadays? I almost feel bad for them. This is Warner Brothers after all. Like, seriously, we don't need this show. We never did. This is definitely not the best way to represent the Scooby-Doo brand. Like, what if a kid watches Velma? Even though this show is not targeted for younger audiences, it could totally ruin them. The show talks about drugs and stuff, so that's clearly not a good sign.
Velma is just stupid, horrendous, offensive, dirty, ugly, and another cheap cash grab of a show.
I would call this the worst show ever, but there were only 2 episodes that released, but it doesn't really work well to its defense. And like I said, I feel like I've seen worse cartoons. But for the time being, I'm just going to try and forget that this show exists, because there's possibly no way it can get any worse than it already is.
What? That's supposed to be Scoob? What the